All right, welcome to this week's edition of the Weekly Outlook. I am Groot. Today is June 4th, and this is the first Weekly Outlook of the month, which means it's going to be public on YouTube. For everyone who doesn't know me, I am a technical analyst, teacher, and trader, and I have recently created an algorithmic trading bot on Astrobit. That's going to go live on June 15th. So if anybody's interested in algorithmic trading and automating your trading, it is a really great thing to add to your portfolio. It is emotionless trading. So that's what I love about it the most. You can basically just let the technology trade the technical analysis for you, and the technical analysis is programmed very similarly to how I trade the markets. Currently, it's trading Bitcoin. I'm working on an Ethereum bot right now. Hopefully I can get that up and running sooner than later, but for now I'm focusing mainly on the launch of the Bitcoin bot, and it's called Bonsai Strategies. You can find the links for that in the description below, for my Twitter, for Bonsai, for Astrobit, and for the Discords. If you want to join the Discord, it's only a 14-day free trial, and if you don't like it, you can leave and you don't have to pay anything. So I think it's worth a shot, and I think you should invest in yourself. If we look at the bot, it's been doing very well lately, and we can kind of just see the last few trades that it's made, and we short after it breaks the support, and we long it at support, and then we short it again at resistance, and then we long it at support and short it again at resistance, and we've been on quite a winning streak here lately, and so that's really exciting. I'm constantly updating this as I see things that kind of go wrong. And for the most part, since I updated it last, it has been doing very, very well. And I'm very happy with it. And therefore, that's why I decided to go ahead and stop the beta testing and launch this live to everyone. So there's a lot of anticipation about that. And I look forward to seeing more and more people come in as they're interested in trading bots. And it kind of takes over for them, hopefully. So let's get into the charts. What's Bitcoin doing? Well, Bitcoin is basically trading in the same range, and we are in no different of a position now than we were March 20th. I mean, this is almost 3 months that we've been in this range. Now we've had, quite a big high all the way up to 31K, and since then we've just been very choppy all the way down. Now, a long time ago when I made this particular chart and shared it in the Discord, this box here that you see was wide open gap, right? There was nothing here on the volume profile. And if I zoom in here, you can see how price would just fly through this zone, right? All the instances where it was in here, it just went straight through it, whether it was straight through it up or straight through it down. But now it looks like we're kind of filling this in a little bit, and the hole in the volume profile, this gap has become a little smaller, but it's still there to the downside. It's not really there to the upside. So you can see why we're fighting that resistance so hard. And even though we're on the 100 moving average on the daily, I think that this can still get down to this 25.2 mark. And I'm still going to be cautious this week, as we have been for many, many weeks. The price just keeps kind of finding support on the 100 moving average for now, which you can see is this green ribbon here. The top of it is the 100, and the bottom of it's the 200. And so that's what this cloud represents. But once we break that 100 moving average, we can fall really quickly down to this 25.2 level. So I want you guys to be very careful. I am not, and I have not been really doing much leverage trading for the weeks now. And it's because of how choppy this market is and how difficult it is to trade. You have to basically be catching the one green candle or the one red candle that you get every day or two in order to make a decent profit on anything. And so it's kind of just a waiting game for me right now, where I'm just going to be waiting for 25.2, and that's my next DCA point for Bitcoin. The last time my dollar cost average into Bitcoin was 27.3, so it's pretty much right where we are right now. And so I'm not looking to sell any. I just want to buy more. I think that we're going to be going into the next bull market sometime next year, and there's plenty of time to buy. You don't have to rush. There should be no FOMO going on. And we're just going to kind of, gradually ease our way into Bitcoin. And we've been doing that since the bottom here at 16K. We did it again on the trend retest. And then we did it again at 27.3. And now if 25.2 comes, then I'm gonna grab that opportunity. If we look at the USDT dominance chart. And if you don't know why we use this chart, it's because this is stablecoin dominance, and we can chart it, and it actually is very beneficial to understanding the psychology and the momentum and which direction crypto is going. Because as dominance on stablecoins rises, Bitcoin and crypto come down, and as crypto goes up, the stablecoin dominance falls. And so what we're looking for is for stablecoin dominance to break this trend line right here. And not only this trend line, but this blue trend line as well. If we follow this all the way up here, you can see this is when we were at our lows at the 16K, was when USDT dominance was at its highs. And so this downtrend here was broken recently. And so that's concerning, right? Like when you break a trend, things start going in the other direction. And so that's what's been going on since Bitcoin hit 31K. And now we've been coming back down on Bitcoin, and this has been trending upward. So while this is trending upward, I want to be very careful. The EMAs are not really offering any sort of indication, right? This is just, they're sideways. There's no direction. So when your EMAs are flat like this, you don't want to leverage trade. You don't want to risk anything that high. You want to wait for the direction to be assumed, right? And whether this is going to continue upward again, then we're just going to wait to dollar cost average in. I'm not keen on shorting. Why? Because Bitcoin's still bullish on the weekly. If we look at the weekly chart, we can clearly see here also that our downtrend here, this little blue line, right? And I kind of drew a new one recently because I think that at some point we can get up there and touch that, and it might take, you know, some downside first, followed by a move up to tap the 0.5 at 32.6, along with that trend line maybe in the future, but that's still quite a ways away, and so I'm not in a rush here. I can also see that the MACD has turned negative, even though we are in bullish territory. This is crossing now, and so this is a little bit worrisome as well for the short term. So I'm not panic selling anything. I'm just waiting for a better opportunity to buy. I like buying cheap prices, and so I'm willing to wait for those. So until we can actually break 27,390, which is the main 382 fib, and you can see we kind of been oscillating around it over the last several weeks, but we broke down below here, rejected, closed the candle above, and now last week we just closed the candle below again. So it's very wishy-washy. It's back and forth. The bulls and the bears are neck and neck, right? They don't know which way to go, but we are under the 8 EMA. We are under the 382, and until we break 27.4, I can't be really confident in any short-term upside. I'm still going to be bearish on Bitcoin to maybe come down and tap this 21 EMA, which is right around the 26K mark. And if that fails, then we're going to find 25.2, which is the bottom of the volume profile, as well as the major resistance that we had last year and in February. This mark right here is where we had major resistance. And so since we broke that, it should now become major support. And so this is another reason why I'm waiting for 25,270, 25,200, somewhere in that vicinity. And it also kind of lines up really well with this downtrend line if we gradually make our way down there. There's a gap above on the CME chart at 29,100 to 29,500. And so once we do finally break this falling wedge, which is a bullish pattern, by the way, but you can't just take a bullish pattern and jump in without, you know, analyzing the chart. And that's what we do here. And we analyze the chart and we try to find the best opportunities. So I would be very willing to go long, even on a leverage trade, should we come down and tap this yellow trend line, which isn't really formed completely yet, but I'm starting to see a pattern of the falling wedge. And then ultimately, when we break out of that falling wedge, that's where we can be more confident that we're going to start heading for that gap, and then potentially the 0.5, and then maybe even the gap up above. But that still could be many weeks or months away. So looking at Ethereum, we're still in our white box, and you guys are probably getting sick of me talking about the white box. But the white box is important for numerous reasons. It's a major fib at 1930. We need to break 1930. If Ethereum breaks 1930, awesome. We can start heading for 2200, all right? But until then, I'm going to wait. The EMAs are bullish on the daily, so Ethereum has been outperforming Bitcoin over the last several days now, maybe almost a week. And I like it a lot more than Bitcoin at the moment. Now, that could change very quickly, because if we look at the Ethereum Bitcoin chart, you can see we are hitting a downtrend. And this is on the weekly. So this is nothing to sneeze at. We are now a red candle starting this week coming back down potentially, and our EMAs have not crossed bullish yet. So this could very well reject here, fall back below the EMAs. The EMAs curl instead of crossing. You know, you've heard me talk about this before. If we start seeing that, then that's when I'm going to start maybe looking at shorting. But I don't really want to just yet for anything. I would rather wait for a better opportunity to buy than to try to short a weekly bullish market. If we look at Ethereum on the spot chart, we did break this little minor downtrend. Like, this isn't like the major downtrend, but it's just a minor one. So if we like zoom all the way out here, you can see we have broken the major one a long time ago, but at the time being, we're just heading down. Let me get rid of this so you can see better. So this is the downtrend that it broke. Doesn't mean it, you know, typically when a downtrend breaks too, is you get an immediate kind of reaction. Like, it breaks the downtrend, retests, and then it's go, right? Well, Ethereum's not doing that. It's just going sideways since it broke trend, and it's been quite a while that it broke trend. So I'm not super confident that this is going to continue just yet. This has been over a week that's just been sideways after breaking the trend, and so I would much rather see a move where it breaks, retests for a day or two, and then heads up and makes new highs, and it hasn't even made a new high since it broke the trend. So not super confident in that either. The MACD looks like it could be pointing downward here, even though it's just over in bullish territory, and our RSI is right around neutral still. So everything's just choppy sideways, and there's real no way to determine where we're going to go in the short term. In the long term, I think the lows are in on both Bitcoin and Ethereum. I don't think we're going to fall back down to those lows again. And in my opinion, it's the best opportunity to dollar cost average into these assets for the long term. Altcoins are going to have trouble. They're still going to be very hard. If you're going to invest in altcoins right now, you need to have a plan like you're going to be investing in them for a really long time, because I don't think that we're going to have any sort of real alt season for a while. Not until Bitcoin at least finds the golden pocket and then drops back down again and then makes another run for the bull market. I don't think we will see a real alt season until like very close to the bull market comes back. Let's look at total. So total is also in a falling wedge type pattern, but it's not really completed yet. Typically when you get into a falling wedge and it's about to break, it gets into the narrower portion first before it breaks. Now that doesn't mean it can't, but I would much rather wait for a break of the wedge to the upside in order to be more confident longing it, right? Otherwise, we might come all the way down to the bottom of it, which gets us right back down to the 0.5 at 1.05 trillion. And so I'm still just going to be playing the waiting game. You can also see that our EMAs are straight sideways for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, a week now, over a week. So no real indication which way we're going from here. This is just going to chop you up for the most part. We can get scalps in. That's great. But as far as swing trading, you're gonna just pay funding rates. That's all you're gonna do. Let's look at the Bitcoin and NASDAQ chart. So this broke its trend, and so I was actually kind of thinking that maybe we would hold that trend and Bitcoin could make a move, but the time has come and gone for that to happen. It took too long. The NASDAQ's still floating up there, and Bitcoin is still gradually falling a little bit. So this chart's coming down. We are at a major fib here, so maybe we get a bounce this week. But right now, I'm still thinking that NASDAQ is going to potentially outperform Bitcoin just based on this break of trend. At least for the near term, we are kind of oversold. We're down pretty low on the MACD. So at some point here, we should get a move back up for Bitcoin against the NASDAQ. But I want to see it first before I can start having any real confidence in that. If we look at the NASDAQ, it is tapping the very top of our main golden pocket, right? So I took my fib from the very all-time high down to our bear market lows where we started dollar cost averaging into things back all the way in like early October. And now we're in this rising wedge that it did break to the top of, but I do think that we're going to get a fallback from here. I can't see this just blasting straight up to the 786. It's not totally out of the question, but right now the way that it's hitting that top of that golden pocket just perfectly, I would venture to guess we're pretty overextended. At the least, maybe we trade sideways. But if we do break the top of the golden pocket, I might try to scalp it. But right now, it's kind of risky to try to long this, right? Like this is way up there and super bullish right now, and I wouldn't try to short it for anything, but I also would be weary of longing this right now. I would definitely much rather wait for a pullback. If we look at the dollar, we're hitting a major spot. So it's kind of this little downtrend here with these 3 wicks, right? And if you take your all the way, your whole uptrend here from last year, you can see we bounced on the 0.5. I do think that we will see this golden pocket at some point in the near future. How near future, I don't know, but that's where I think we end up going, and that would bring this to oversold, and that would bring this to pretty far down, and then that would be really good for equities. But at the time being, the dollar's kind of moving up while the NASDAQ and ES are moving up as well, and so it's kind of an anomaly, but that just means that the rest of the world currencies are suffering and people are putting their money into the dollar. It's not always correlated with the NASDAQ and the equities markets, but sometimes it is, so we watch it. So I want to see if the dollar can break this downtrend, right? And if it can, well then, the equities markets might start suffering at that point. But until then, I think we might just trend sideways. If we look at ES, we're into the golden pocket. And so while the NASDAQ has been outperforming everybody, I think it's kind of time for the NASDAQ to cool off, maybe go sideways for a little while. And you can see last week, the S&P 500 kind of took over and did better. And so I think we might see that continue. And this is where money starts flowing from the really risky NASDAQ to the medium risk S&P. And then money would start flowing into the low risk Dow Jones. You can see the Dow Jones is in sort of like an inverted head and shoulders pattern right now, and it just blasted all the way up through here last week. And so money's moving back into value. People are taking profits on their high risk big tech, moving it into value companies in the Dow Jones. So we want to start looking for our value companies, which is why I have calls on Costco. I like Costco a lot. You can see Costco's broken this massive bullish pennant on the weekly chart. That started all the way in April of 22, and now we're breaking to the upside. So I'm really, really confident in Costco to continue here as people start taking their profits on things like Microsoft and Google and Meta. They'll start rolling that money into things like Costco because this is a safe haven, right? Costco's always going to be needed. So this is why I like that a lot. I also like this stock called Twilight Twilio. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but it has broken the downtrend, and one of the members in the Discord caught my attention with this one. And we double tapped the 786 down here, sort of a double bottom, and now we've broken the downtrend, and I like this to continue to at least $100. So I think over a nice swing trade here would be in play if we can break 72.55. It's kind of wide open here, so that would be a nice swing from currently $63. If we can get this back to 100, that'd be awesome. ENPH I also like a lot. So this is In Phase Energy. We've hit the bottom of the channel. We bought some of this last week, and since then we're already up on it. And I think we could possibly come up out of here and break that downtrend and continue this channel upward. So this is another swing trade that I am involved in. All right, so I think I covered everything. Yes, I did. I'm going to look at Quant real quick. So Quant has broken this downtrend, but now it's hitting the underside of this uptrend that it broke down on. So it's retesting that. It wouldn't surprise me to see Quant just trade sideways within this range here for a while. But if it does break 117 or this trend line in the 21 EMA on the weekly, which is sitting at 117.8, then this could be bullish again. And I think we could get a big move up to like 131.3, I think it is, which is this spot right here. And then past that to 150. So we'll have to monitor that as it goes. But if it does break that spot where it's sitting pretty close to right now, then I think this could make a move. XRP, a lot of people are talking about this, but it's really just hitting the same resistance that it's had for, I don't know, almost a year now. And if it breaks it, great. We can scalp this up. I'm not a huge fan of XRP. I never really have been, just because there's so much supply, but I will trade it. And right now you can see it's rejecting this local 786. So I'm not going to jump in until we at least break this zone here, where if you have taken my one-on-one sessions, you know that this is the greed and FOMO zone. And so if we break that up in here, then we can really start moving. But until then, I'm just going to wait. OP has been kind of messing around with this all-time trend here that stems all the way back to its early days. And right now, it's kind of sitting above the 0.5, but back under that trend. So I'm still not super confident that we're going to continue upward from here because we're still in a major downtrend. But I did buy some for the long term in the 138 area. So I'm happy to just sit on that for a while and see how it goes. If we continue to fall, then my next area to dollar cost average into that would be the golden pocket down here. So until then, I'm just going to sit and wait on that as well. Litecoin's probably my favorite right now, and I think that it is potentially the safest thing to hold on to at the moment, and that's because its halving is coming up in August. So it's currently sort of in a, inverted head and shoulders pattern, which is bullish, but at the moment it's falling because Bitcoin's falling. But it's bullish kind of in every regard, weekly, daily, everything. And it's in sort of an ascending triangle pattern, and it still might take quite a while for it to play out. We could even come all the way down to the bottom of the triangle again before we come back up. So I'm going to keep dollar cost averaging into Litecoin as well, and I'm going to sell just before that halvening in August. I do not want to hold through the halvening. And there's a really good Twitter thread that I've been sharing in the Discord too, showing how the price action in history for upcoming halvenings, how it plays out and how it works. So if you're interested in reading that, that's in the resources channel. All right, so I've covered everything, I think. And if anybody has any questions or chart requests, please feel free to drop them in the chat. And any questions at all? I think we're still kind of falling down here. All right, chart requests.